think the biggest part of being an adult is realizing that not everybody that looks like an adult is an adult.
That part.
Because it takes so much emotional intelligence and maturity to communicate.
Yep.
Especially like when we get into like mental health and things like that. It's just like avoidance is rampant.
For sure. Nobody wants to have difficult conversations. That's why they're called difficult conversations, you know?
Well, people want to say whatever they want to say, but they don't want to pay the consequences for saying the things, right?
I think you have two different kinds of adults, though. There are adults who can have those conversations and adults who absolutely can't. And that's where it causes just huge friction. Like in my life, all the friction that I've had in the past 2.5 years have really been from adults who cannot take accountability. They lack emotional maturity to have a conversation that shouldn't even, to call it a difficult conversation, I'd maybe say uncomfortable, because there's nothing really difficult about having a conversation to me. It's just, it might get uncomfortable, but especially if you're having a conversation that may feel uncomfortable, but with someone that you love and trust, it should feel like a safe space. I don't know. Maybe people don't feel safe enough to do it. I don't know what everyone's holdups are different, but
I think some people also don't want to get uncomfortable. It's so much easier to stay in that comfort zone, right?
That's the thing, right? When we're talking about we want to nurture and create these spaces where we can have these conversations, because communication is key, but it's also the way in which I think spaces for love can exist, right? Because like for adult relationships where they want to act like children, they're not your children. So then ultimately there is always the option of leaving. But now when it's your children acting like that, you have to be like, okay, like, look, let me see where you're at and try to get us into a situation where you'll see me where I'm at as well, and grow and heal together. But yeah, I think a lot of times people that don't want to have this conversation are, you know, if we want to get into like the mental health thing, sometimes their neurobiological chemistry is kind of that of a child. But then because they're physically an adult, they don't have to take responsibility for that, right? That's like the toughest thing to swallow, right? It's like, oh shoot.
Hey, I think as somebody who works in mental health, technically housing first, but also mental health, it's crazy because you will see, it's frustrating, I'll say, because I have seen individuals who, they have some kind of mental health thing going on, but they're at a place where they're willing to be accountable or willing to step outside of their comfort zone to have that difficult conversation, versus just like you said, there are people who just like, they're so adamant about not because of whatever the disagreement is, but I feel like they're just that rooted in their comfort zone that like they just can't do it. It's almost like a fight or flight type of thing. Like Cassie has a saying she tells her clients all the time, like, who's gonna beat your ass? Like if you guys are having some kind of disagreement, more often than that, nobody's like actually gonna physically harm you. Like, yeah, your feelings might be hurt, or it might be a difficult conversation to have, but more often than not, 99 times out of 100, like you're not physically going to be harmed. So just have the conversation. Like, who's gonna beat your ass? Nobody is, but people like in their heads like are so wrapped up in it where it's just like, okay, like, no, like, absolutely not. I'm not even gonna approach that with you because I need to protect myself. I need to protect how I feel, and that feels really scary to me.
Well, sometimes the verbal ass whooping is a lot more painful than the physical.
Oh, for sure.
I had this conversation with Jan yesterday. I'm like, you know, I'm pro ass beatings.
Oh yeah.
Because I was just like, you know what? Like sometimes people need to get their ass beat because like I'm anti-violence, but an ass whooping is not violent.
Well, increasingly more like lately, I keep finding myself in situations where I see someone and I'm like, this person strikes me as someone who's never been punched in the fucking mouth.
For sure.
And man, it would like the person, it would help them.
Oh yeah, there are some people who obviously need an ass whooping, whether or not you're the person who's supposed to teach that lesson.
It's a reality check. They need a reality check, because I feel like it's, especially with the internet, people have gotten so brave with what they're willing to say behind a keyboard, whatever, but I feel like it's bled into real life where they think that there's no consequence.
Until they meet that consequence. And that's the thing is, like, I think ultimately a lot of those people will, because they tend to be on the younger side.
Not always.
Not always. But again, for those people who are on the older side, you meet the right one on the wrong day, as they say. Like,
to me, the problem is not the younger folks; it's the older folks.
Yeah,
because they know they're immune to the ass whoopings. So
not all the time though, and because also some of the younger folks now, some of these younger niggas, they don't play that shit. Like, they're not giving you a warning. They're not, oh, I'll go see you outside. That's it. It's done. Like, as soon as the disrespect is said. So I think it's just about, those people have been lucky enough up to this point in their life to not really have to face immediate consequences. But it's one of the things that, at least to help me get on with my day, I'm just like, look, they're going to get theirs at some point. It can't be me today.
I think it's just like the reality check is a good way to describe it, right? Because ultimately it does, in my opinion, boil down to communication, but communication is always a two-way street, if not like a street with many intersections. A lot of times people think communication is like, you need to listen to me,